Prisoner 24601, your time is up and your parole's begun. You know what that means. I'm free.
No. Honestly, you could have been the one to do that in the movie, and I would have believed it.
Thank you. If you didn't catch, that was my spot-on impression of Russell Crowe in the movie we're covering today, Les Mis, 2012. And much like Jean Valjean, you are all our prisoners today, being forced to listen to us talk about this fucking movie.
Oh my goodness.
Also, mostly a prisoner because you had to hear me sing, but we debated. I was like, if there's ever a time to sing, it's now. It's now for this.
The entire movie is all song. It's not like we had a choice.
Yeah, there's very minimal dialogue. That is true.
Like maybe 2 lines.
It's like a 4-hour-long movie where no one speaks.
This movie is a marathon, genuinely. I sat down a little begrudgingly this week to watch it. Just because I was like, well, there goes 3 hours of my life.
I microdosed it this watch around.
That's a good idea.
I did it in like 30-minute spurts over the course of like 3 days. So I was like, there's no way I have the time or the energy to sit down for literally 3 hours and listen to people sing about the French Revolution. So I just, when I could, I would squeeze a little in there. And honestly, it made it a bit more tolerable.
Yeah, that's certainly a power move. Definitely, like, you know how they've gone and broken up like the Hateful Eight because it's 3.5 hours long into
like episodes,
40 minutes. Yeah, it's a mini series.
Truly, this should be a mini series. I feel like it could have benefited from that. But so this is the swamp. If you don't know, if you're new here, I'm really sorry that your first introduction to this podcast was hearing me sing like Russell Crowe. But my name is Dara.
I'm Emily.
We usually don't introduce ourselves. I feel like we should get into the habit of doing that. But this is the swamp. The swamp is an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
And this is a pretty whack movie. This month we're doing Musicals Month, and so we just felt like we had to do Les Mis. Like, if you're doing Musicals Month, it just felt right.
Yeah.
To squeeze it in there.
Yeah, I feel like we really did this one for, like, the musical theater kids out there, because I'll be frank, I don't think a ton of our listeners will have watched this. If you have, good for you. Honestly, you deserve a small little, like, pin. Like, I got through Les Mis.
It's like a Girl Scout badge. Like, successfully sat through Les Mis. You get a badge for it. I feel like this movie was really entangled in a lot of Oscar hype, though, for the 2013 Oscars. Because it was, it was, I think, the first musical since Chicago to be nominated for Best Picture. It didn't win, obviously, but it had a ton of nominations. So I feel like the Oscar draw kind of pulled in that, like, film crowd, I guess. So, but I remember it came out in 2012, and so we were in 7th grade, I believe.
Yes,
so we're about 13 years old, and so this movie is certainly a hit amongst the like junior high show choir girl audience, and I think I definitely saw this in the theaters.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. Not that I was a show choir girl, but I certainly, I definitely saw it in the theaters, and I think I've seen this movie like probably somewhere between 7 and 10 times, which is far too many. Yeah, far too many.
I'd say this is probably my third or fourth watch, I think. I definitely remember seeing it for the first time, and I was shocked because there was no dialogue. It was all singing.
Yeah, it's truly a musical film. Like, it is a musical. They basically filmed like a live action musical, is essentially. And I think this is the most musically musical we've done so far, for sure.
Well, I mean, all of the singing that was done live.
Which is
for this
fucking crazy.
Well,
I think that had never been, like, really attempted to that scale on film before. And it certainly shows. At certain points, the live singing, it shows Russell Crowe.
He's the only one.
I don't know. Like, I think Eddie Redmayne has some moments where I'm like, you're a little flat, buddy. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'll give it to him. I'll let him get away with it, because it's not distractingly bad like Russell's is.
Yeah.
But my whole thing was, I was just shocked that they were able to find, like, a lot of these people are actors first instead of, like, Broadway performers. Like, I know, like, I think Samantha Barks, who plays Eponine, she was very much a a stage person before
Yeah, because
this,
she
and
had
then
been,
she got cast.
yeah, she was epically on like the touring Broadway version or something like that. So that was totally like her steez. And I know Aaron Tveit too, who plays Enjolras. He's like a Broadway guy, and I definitely think you can so tell the difference between like the actors who are singing versus the singers who are acting.
I just don't know how productions like this find like so many actors who have just great voices. Like obviously, well, not Russell Crowe. Sorry.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman was a big stage guy, and he's done a lot of like he's very much like stage, sort of split like stage and screen, and all that. But like Amanda Seyfried, like Helena Bonham Carter, Sacha Baron Cohen, who the fuck?
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, Anne Hathaway. Like these are all very much like on-screen people, and they all just had like pretty
pipes.
Pipes. I'm like, is that like one of those things like you have to like have in your back pocket to be an actor? That's just you need to be able to hold a tune.
It's like Disney Channel, how they forced all those kids at gunpoint to also release music. They're like, Zendaya, we get that you can dance. We get that Shake It Up's a big success, but if you don't put out a single, we're gonna fucking drop your contract. Like, all those kids, they forced Mitchell Musso from fucking Hannah Montana had me, like, every single person to ever be on the Disney Channel was for, I don't know how the Sprouse twins got out of it.
I mean, I feel like they probably plotted. You know what I mean? They were like, we're not doing this. This is where we draw a hard line. They were like, can you give us like a little snippet? Can you sing for us? And they bombed on purpose.
But yeah, I feel like, A-list Hollywood is like, to get to that level, like, you have to be secretly a vocalist.
Well, not Russel Crowe, obviously.
Yeah, not Russell Crowe. If you can't tell by now, we're gonna beat this dead horse until it's flat. That everyone knows, everyone who's ever seen Les Mis, like 99%, there's the 1%ers who think Russell Crowe can sing and commend his performance in this movie, and I just want you to know that you're wrong. Like, I get it. I couldn't sing. I couldn't be in a movie musical. I'm not saying that I could have been Javert, because I simply could not. Yeah. But I did not audition to be Javert.
Dude, he must have had, like, some sort of in with one of the producers. You know what I mean? Like, they owed him, like, a huge favor or something like that. They're like, fine, Russell, I guess we'll give it to you.
Because, like, also, like, Russell Crowe's a pretty famous actor, but this movie was not make or break without him. Like, if they swapped him for, like, somebody who had actually been on Broadway, like, more of an unknown, somebody who had perhaps played Javert in the past, I think maybe that could have been for the best. But it doesn't ruin the whole movie, to be honest. It's just a funny thing that makes me laugh every time I watch it. Everything he sings is, he knows 3 notes. Prisoner 24601, your time is up and your almost begun.
My favorite thing about it is the thing that's so frustrating is, like, he's not ridiculously flat, but, like, because, like, I feel like they couldn't have done it, like, if he was, but he's just so close. He's so close to almost being flat the entire time.
So a pretty interesting thing that I found out was the way they managed to pull off all of this live singing was all of the actors had a tiny earpiece in. And they played a piano live in a different room so that it's not like a pre-recorded track that they had to sing to. It was the piano would go at their pacing, which is fucking crazy. So, like, a live piano in a separate space, they're being fed it to in an earpiece, but also, like, their singing is being fed back to the piano player and, like, vice versa. So that's how they all stayed on pitch, but also could, like, make artistic choices about, like, the pacing of the song and stuff. Because I know Anne Hathaway's big song that she had was, like, very much, like, had to do a lot of different takes to get that emotion. But I think that's wild. I can't believe somebody came up with that, like, whole situation. And I think this movie does benefit from the live singing. Because I think it does more for it than it takes away from it. You know what I mean? Because I don't think we would have gotten performances like that out of Anne Hathaway and Hugh Jackman if they hadn't been, like, actually doing it in the moment.
I 100% agree with you there. And I mean, like, Russell's prime flop of this movie, but there's, like you said, there are so many, like, successful, I don't want to say successful, but just standout songs and everything like that. Like, Samantha Barks' Empanine, I think she's probably, I don't know, I'd say she's a scene stealer, honestly. I know, like, Anne Hathaway won the Oscar for this, like, rightfully so. She was fantastic in the, like, and she only had, like, 20 minutes of screen time, and she won the Oscar.
Yeah.
But Samantha Barks' Eponine, I always thought it was super, super impressive. And the thing that really stands out to me is that she was doing all of this live singing in the tiniest little corset I've ever seen in my fucking life. She had to lose 21 pounds for this role in 2 months.
Fucking wild. The whole time I was watching it, I was like, that is my pinky. Her waist is the size of my pinky finger. I was like, I cannot believe, like, unhealthily looking. To the point where I'm like, I cannot believe they made this girl get so thin to look like that.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely fucking wild.
Well, and she was singing, like, in the freezing, like, fake rain that they do.
Yeah,
for the
in a
shoot,
corset.
In a corset.
Sounding impeccable.
And I know she was also barefoot. I don't know why she was barefoot, but she was barefoot during it. She was like, yeah, I got splinters in my feet. And she's like, but I had the best time. I would never trade it for the world. I'm like, yeah, I believe that, because, like, you get to play this iconic role, but damn, girl. Like, that is commitment. I'll give it to her.
Yeah, I will say her and Aaron Tveit both really stand out to me, and I do think it is because of their Broadway background and the whole way they decided to set this movie up. I think really played to their strengths as, like, live singing. I think their two performances are vocally the best, in my opinion, just because I think those are two people who very regularly sing those songs live.
They just know how to sing, like, actually.
Hugh Jackman, I think he delivers, like, beginning to end amazing performances, but there are moments in his singing that I'm like, oh, you are doing this live. Like, this, if it had been in post, they would have touched some things up, but I can appreciate some, like, because it shows you how, like, really talented everyone is.
For sure.
Like, they weren't getting any help.
Yeah, while I think that Samantha Barks and Aaron Tveit definitely stood out, like, in terms of, like, best, probably, performances overall, the one thing that always just blows my fucking mind during this is Amanda Seyfried hitting
whistle tones.
Yeah, hitting the highest notes I think I've ever heard in my life. I've said it before. It sounds like a dog whistle. You know what I mean?
Like that little earpiece with the piano in it. She was going up, and they're like, there are no more keys on this piano to tune her to. They're like, we're bringing the dog whistles for Amanda. Because it's always like she's harmonizing with somebody else. Like when her and Eddie Redmayne are always singing like lovey-dovey songs together, she harmonizes like not 1, not 2, not 3, but 18 octaves above the note he's singing. And she always manages, and then the song will go up a key, and she just manages to shift up. And I'm like, how the fuck are her vocal cords not just erupting?
She's actually bleeding.
It's pretty interesting. So she auditioned for the role of, what's Anne Hathaway's character's name? Fantine?
Yeah, Fantine.
Fantine. She auditioned for that role as well, and they kind of told her, like, it might be you for that, or it might be you for Cosette, so, like, get ready to do either part, you know? And so I think that would have been really interesting if she had Anne Hathaway's role instead. I feel like that could have been, like, a really interesting shift. Also, somebody who auditioned for Amanda Seyfried's role, what's her, Cosette? Somebody who auditioned for Cosette who fucking cracks me up, Miranda Cosgrove.
No!
She was in, like, the top 5. She was
serious?
in, like, the last casting call.
Oh my God. Literally how?
like I was looking at, like, you know, who they were considering, and she was in there, and I was like, Miranda Cosgrove was gonna be Cosette?
You guys can't see me, but my jaw is literally dropped. Like, I'm sorry, but Miranda Cosgrove can't act.
Then she would have been the Russel Crowe of this movie. Imagine if she was Cosette. Between her and Marius, they would have had the widest mouth span of any two couples.
Like, they're okay. Cosette and Marius's relationship does nothing for me, like, now. But, like, between her and Eddie Redmayne, oh my God. It would have been horrific.
Yeah, I don't know if we should even bother trying. Like, literally, it's a 17-and-a-half-hour movie, so, like, if you haven't seen it, I commend you, because you're not really missing out. But basically, the plot is that it's the French Revolution. This guy named Jean Valjean stole some fucking bread, went to prison for 19 years, because I guess that's how things were in the day. Then he he gets out of prison and he steals some silver from a priest, and then he gets caught, and the priest was like, no, I gave that to you. And he's like, holy shit, what? I'm a Christian now. And so he becomes a better person, uses the silver to become the mayor and also a small business owner of a town. Then Fantine, who's Anne Hathaway, gets fired from her job for having a kid.
Pretty much. Her boss was just a dick, and all the ladies were dicks, and they pretty much were like,
you're a single mom, so this will be nothing but trouble for this warehouse we work in. What? None of those crusty ladies in that seamstress warehouse were also single moms? This is the first single mom they had ever encountered.
She's actually the first single mom ever. No one else has ever been a single mom until Fantine.
So she gets fired from her job, and she like screams out for Hugh Jackman, and he like doesn't hear. Yeah, and so then they kick her to the curb.
It's his business.
Yeah, he's the boss, but like the day manager fires her. Yeah. And they kick her to the curb, and she immediately turns to the streets and sells her teeth, hair, and body.
Dude, like that.
She didn't go on Indeed to look for some job opportunities. She didn't check the local postings. Mm-mm. She didn't ask around for references. She's like, I know I'm a single mom, so it's over for me. Mm-hmm. So she immediately sells her own teeth. To a man who does not have the credentials of a dentist, I will say.
Sir, where's your degree? I don't see it.
And then Jean Valjean realizes that Anne Hathaway is about to die of tuberculosis because his business fired her. And it's like literally 2 days later, and she's withered on the streets, and he's like, this is my fault. So he goes and adopts her daughter because she's dead. He holds her in his arms as she dies of tuberculosis. No, much like Nicole Kidman in Moulin Rouge, the consumption got her.
Damn, it's always the consumption.
And so then he goes and takes Cosette, who's Fantine's daughter, who's living with Sacha Baron Cohen and Helena Bonham Carter in their inn, and he just snatches her up and says, here's $100 for this child, and they're like, don't even worry about it. And then he's like, I will be the best dad ever. He's like, suddenly, being a father has never been more appealing.
Dude, he was ready for fatherhood in an instant. He already had a doll on him. Like, for when he knew this moment was gonna come. So he's like, okay, I gotta keep this thing on me at all times, just in case.
And, like, that's when shit gets wild, and then they fast forward, like, 15 years, and suddenly it's, like, the peak of the French Revolution. Mm-hmm. And, because Marius is... Marius, Enjolras, and like three of their friends are like this gang of guys who are like leading this revolution.
They're like
fight,
students
and then
or something. Yeah.
Marius locks eyes with Cosette for half a second, and it's like, she is absolutely the girl of my dreams, and I will be stalking her.
Dude, his dick jumped.
But hers did too, because she then sings a whole song about how, like, my life is forever changed. And then they meet, and they're like, this is love. And I'm like, they say each other's names to each other, and that's it. And then they're like, marriage tomorrow.
This is probably the worst case of a 2-week romance that we've seen yet.
They're married by the end of the 2 weeks. They're fully, they're like, what's your name, Marius? I'm Cosette. You want to harmonize? I will whistle tone above you. I will steal the stage. I will show you up. Marriage tomorrow? Yes, sounds great.
They don't even know each other's zodiac signs.
Then there's a big fight. Throughout all of this, Russel Crowe has been playing cat and mouse with Jean Valjean, who is switching identities to evade the law. They're just going tit for tat back and forth. And every time that he finds Jean Valjean, he's like, I know you found me and that you have to arrest me, but I have a baby with me right now.
Can we
so,
do
like,
this later?
You gotta let me go this once. And Javert's always like, you got me. And then he turns around and just sings in 3 flat notes about how much he loves being a cop and how he hates people who steal. And then it happens again when he saves Marius in the fucking trenches and drags him through the sewer. And he's like, I'm gonna have to arrest you. And he was like, this boy is covered in human shit and I need to save his life. And he's like, I guess I just have to kill myself because I'm just never gonna fucking catch you.
Well, like, there was one point where, because there was this whole thing, like, all the students rebelled and they have this big barricade and all that shit. And there's this whole big brawl. And Javert gets, like, captured by them, almost, and Jean Valjean's like, oh, guys, let me take care of this one, and then he lets him go, and he lets him be free. So, what?
My issue with that whole situation was that they capture Javert, the head policeman, basically, right? And then this random-ass guy, Jean Valjean, shows up, and is like, I'm here to help. And they're like, no way. And then he, like, spins some shit. He, like, finds some snipers up in the rafters and fucking snipes them or whatever. And they're like, this guy's cool. And he's like, you know what? I'll go take care of that really important prisoner you guys have. And they're like, perfect. They give him a gun. They are less than 20 feet away from this group of people. They sing monologue to each other for about 27 minutes back and forth about the importance of honesty and the law or whatever. He cuts the ropes, he lets him free, and basically he's like, why are you letting me free? And then Jean Valjean is like, I'm an honest man, and they go back and forth. And then he lets Javert go. He takes the gun and just, like, shoots the wall to make them all think that he's actually killed him. And then he goes back and he's like, done. It's a done job. Nobody fucking went back there to check to see if he had They're not like, hey boys, go take care of that dead body that doesn't exist. Nobody even questioned for a second. Nobody was like, hey, you know that really important police prisoner we had? Has anyone seen the body that we let that stranger just take care of? Absolutely baffled me. I could not imagine worse concentration and strategy. Come on, Enjolras, you planned this revolution, you can't go check to make sure he did a good job offing the prisoner.
You can tell they're students, that's for sure. They're like 20 years old.
I looked up their ages, actually, because I was a little curious. Yeah. So the age difference between Marius and Epony is 5 years, and he's supposed to be like early 20s, which makes her like late teens. Oh. You know, so she's like 17, 18, and he's like 23, 24. Okay. They said the years they were born, but I didn't know. But so also Cosette is 17. Okay. Cosette is 17 when they get married. But it all happens really fast, so she's 17.
You can definitely tell because she was literally willing to marry this man. I don't even think it was 2 weeks. It was probably like a week.
26 minutes.
I love it too because like they're pretty much they fall in love over the course of a 4-minute song, of course. But then after that and after like the whole big battle, Marius has got to be dealing with, like, the most amount of trauma that he...
PTSD ever!
He's got survivor's guilt, like, so bad. And Cosette's like, it's alright, like, let's just kiss.
He's like staring at the ground, like, face glazed over, and she's, like, kissing his cheek. She's like, aren't you so glad to be here with me?
Like, that...
He can, like, hear the gunshots.
Like, you just look into his eyes and it's his dead friends.
But I don't think it helped that just as equally as Jean Valjean was excited to be a dad to a 6-year-old girl, he was so pumped to have a son-in-law.
So he sings a whole song about it. Let him live. Like, jeez.
Yeah, no, he's like, he could be the son I never had.
He's 3 feet away from him. Marius is, like, sleeping on the ground, and he's belting. Like, he has no idea.
All right, so this is time for our little interim segment of the pod, Chocolate or Vanilla, when we add in third host, honestly, at this point, Jen. She intern, host of this. Promoted. You're the host of this mini segment, I would say. This is your little mini segment. And it's Chocolate or Vanilla. My mother, Jen, comes in and asks us question 2 options. Which one do you like better? So chocolate or vanilla, and you just say which one you like better. Does this week have a theme?
It does have a theme. So it has a theme and it has a little addition. Ooh. So the theme is things that are loosely related to war.
If you're gonna ask me, like, which war did I like better, Korea or Vietnam, like, I'm not gonna have an answer for you.
No. I definitely said loosely.
It's like, which gun is better?
Oh yeah, that's coming. Actually. And then one of the, I'm gonna throw in one in the middle that's a three-way, because you inspired me last week, Dara. You're like, but I was gonna call it the chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry question.
All right.
Oh, okay. When you add in a third, because some things just naturally come in threes.
Sure.
That is very true.
I will say, when you do this or that, and then there's just like obviously a third option, I can commend that. I usually will like add my own. You'll be like, which two do you like better? And I'm like, no, I'm gonna make up my own third answer that wasn't on the table. So,
So all right. So I'm gonna start. Chocolate or vanilla?
chocolate,
Vanilla.
Chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry?
chocolate,
Strawberry.
Ooh, chocolate. Okay, Power Rangers or Ninja Turtles?
Ninja Turtles.
Power Rangers.
I am. A lot of these are really hard for me to pick. I'm gonna say Ninja Turtles.
I love the Renaissance. I just love art history. It just tickles me.
It's a classic.
How can you not? All right. So from the U2 album War, Sunday Bloody Sunday or New Year's Eve? New Year's Day. Oops, sorry, New Year's Eve. New Year's Day.
I'll go with Sunday Bloody Sunday because that's more on brand with our war theme.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with her on that.
Okay, so to use your term, Dara, I think both these songs slap. But I am gonna pick Sunday Bloody Sunday. Okay, Emily, you asked for it. Bayonet or bazooka?
Oh my god. Okay, honestly though, I do have I have an opinion here. Okay. Is that I'm gonna say bayonet, because I think something about modern war is that technology has gone too far, you can kill a man from a drone. And I just think that it's like Game of Thrones when they have to get on a horse and wield a sword to kill a man. I think you should have that level of bravery and commitment. If you're gonna fucking start a war, have the courage to back it up. So I think bayonet, I think we should fight old-fashioned, fist-to-fist combat for every conflict.
No, I totally agree with you there. Like, if you've gotta stab someone with your bayonet, like, watch the consequences. See him die, you know what I mean?
It better be a cause you really believe in, because you had to get up in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I agree with you too, although there is something about launching a gun like from your shoulder,
True.
But I have heard Dara's bayonet argument before, so I am definitely going to agree with you on the bayonet.
I think it's because every time we watch Game of Thrones as a family, I'm like, that's how it should be done.
The 5 times we've watched it as a family during quarantine. Okay, Talking About a Revolution by Tracy Chapman or Revolution by the Beatles?
Talking About a Revolution by Tracy Chapman. Yes.
Considering I'm wearing a Beatles shirt right now, I'm gonna have to say Revolution by the Beatles.
Yes. I would also say the Beatles, although I think both these songs are really good. A. Ham or A. Burr?
Oh my god. Can I pick neither? I guess you know who triumphed in the end was Aaron Burr. He shot that motherfucker and he meant it. So I'll go with him.
Yeah, I agree with you there. He was the one to shut him up, and I respect that.
And his songs in Hamilton are just better.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
If we're talking from a musical standpoint.
Yeah, I'm also an A. Burr girl. So now follow up, Lin-Manuel Miranda or Leslie Odom Jr.?
Leslie Odom every day. Every day of the week, Leslie Odom gets my pick.
Yeah. I'm holding back gags just thinking about Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I mean, LMM is a genius, but
yeah.
I will definitely go with Leslie.
I just think he's insufferable.
Mm-hmm. Is there...
The lip bite? It's the lip
guy?
Bite for me.
He's just cringe. He's just real cringy.
What did Emily say? I missed what Emily said before. What did you say?
He has this stupid fucking lip bite that he does. And he like very confidently posts pictures of it. I don't know. It feels like satire. I feel like it should be, and he knows that it's so cringe, but honestly, I can't tell.
Like the lip bite when you're thinking?
No, like you're trying to get someone, like, thirsty for you kind of thing. Yeah. Like, trying to look real sexy.
Oh, he's totally married with kids, though.
Yeah, I'll send you some photos of him doing it later, because it's scary.
My real pick, though,
I get
real pick
shivers.
is that guy from TikTok who does an unclockable Lin-Manuel Miranda impression and just, like, says really funny things or, like, sings other people's
Yes.
songs as him. That gets me every time.
Okay, here's our chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry. Okay, from Mulan, Yao, Ling, or Chen Po?
Yes.
You know the three friends?
Uh-huh.
There's
Yeah.
okay, so I'm gonna break it down really quick by physical characteristics to make sure I got it down, right? So Yao is the short, stocky one.
Yeah, with the black eye. Yeah,
With the black eye. What's this? Chen is kind of the lean, kind of goofy one. And then Chen Po.
Chen Po is, I think, the one who is the bigger guy who wants a girl who can cook.
Yeah, Chen Po. So what's the middle guy's name?
Ling is the tall,
Ling.
lanky, kind of dorky one. Yeah.
I just okay, so I'm solely basing this off of the iconic musical number A Girl Worth Fighting For.
Yes, absolutely.
Obviously, and I just gotta go with Chen Po, because he's like, I don't care what she looks like, as long as she cooks me good food. And the other two are like, she's gotta be skinny and tall and beautiful and nice, and he's like, if she makes me dinner, that's all that matters. So I can get behind
100% agree with you there. He just seems like a nice guy. The other two seem like, kind of like dicks.
But I will say the line from I'll Make a Man Out of You, when he says, boy, was I a fool in school for cutting Jim.
Yeah.
I scream that in my car. That's one of the best lines to just spit of that song. So I'll give a little shout out, but...
Yeah, for same reasons, I think Chen Po, he seems like a real sweet guy. The French flag or the Irish flag? And not like France versus Ireland, just like the visual of the colors of those flags.
Yeah, I do think that this is a valid question, because I think the colors red, white, and blue are far overused in our nation's flags.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Ireland had the audacity to bring in a little orange, you know? I think it's just a little bolder of a choice, and therefore I will go with the Irish flag. Also, there's too many flags that are like red, white, and blue in a certain order. Like, if you flip it, I think it's like blue, red, white. That's like the Netherlands or something. Like, it's too confusing. I can't remember it all. I'm not from Europe, but there are people out there who are really into flags and who are really good at flags, and it couldn't be me, but I know the Irish flag when I see it. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there.
Me too. I'm on board. That's a sweep for the Irish flag. Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival, or War, What Is It Good For? Absolutely Nothing. I thought it was James Brown, but it's some guy named Edwin Starr.
It's probably like covered or sampled or something, but I'll go for War, What Is It Good For? Because that's true. Why we gotta fight? Why can't we just hang out?
What was the Creedence Clearwater one name?
Fortunate Son.
Fortunate Son, for sure.
Yeah, that's on the Forrest Gump soundtrack.
It's like, it's the classic, like, it's a Vietnam song, pretty much, at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely. 1917 or Dunkirk?
Oh my god. I will take a stance that I'm not really a huge fan of war movies, because I just don't think those stories need to be told any more than they already have. Like, we're forced to learn about them in history class, and we don't learn about, like, parts of history that are actually, like, more important and interesting. And I think that all of that money that they spent on making those movies, if it was, like, telling stories we didn't know much about, I think it would just be more beneficial. So I'm not a huge fan of either of those movies, to be honest, but I did think Dunkirk was so boring. The only intrigue to me was Harry Styles, I'm sorry. But 1917 had that little cinematic element of being taken one shot, which I like, so I guess I'll go with that one.
Yeah, I actually really love 1917. It's, like, one of the few movies that, like, I've bought, because I'll watch it probably, like, once every, like, 7 months or something like that, so I'll go for 1917.
Really?
Something about it. I don't hate a war movie.
The other thing is, you see a lot of movies about World War II, but less so World War I. So that's, I think, one of the reasons I appreciated it. I will say 1917 also. Betsy Ross or Harriet Tubman?
Oh my god, Jen. You're asking me to choose between
Yes, I am.
the woman who sewed the American flag versus the woman who pioneered the Underground Railroad.
This is a bold one, Jen.
If anybody were to ever dare answer Betsy Ross to this question, that means that this should be a question on the American citizenship test, and if you choose Betsy Ross, they don't let you into the country. The answer is Harriet Tubman. This isn't an opinion, this is a right or wrong, and the answer is Harriet Tubman.
She said it all.
I totally thought the same thing. Yeah, of course, Harriet Tubman. The movie Midway or the movie Pearl Harbor?
I haven't seen either of those. I don't like war movies.
Well,
I
I'll
can't
tell you that Midway has Nick Jonas in it, and it has Darren Criss in it, and Pearl Harbor has your fave Ben Affleck in it.
Oh, then I'm definitely picking the first one. Nick Jonas can murder Ben Affleck.
He was a total scene stealer in Midway. Emily, have you seen
No,
Midway?
I haven't seen Midway.
You should. It was
Alright,
really good.
I'll check it out. I will have to go with Pearl Harbor against every, like, natural, I don't know, bone in my body, like, telling me not to go with Ben Affleck, but it's one of those movies that whenever it's on, I'm like, oh, I'll just see where it's at. And then I'll kind of, like, end up watching
it's like
it.
3 hours long or something.
Yeah,
right?
it is
It's
super
so
long.
long. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do enjoy it.
I will take Midway. Jojo Rabbit or Good Morning Vietnam?
Jojo Rabbit. I love that movie.
Yeah, for sure.
That's of all the Oscar movies that because we see the nominees every year, and there are very few that I like truly enjoy and I'm very happy that I saw, and Jojo Rabbit was for sure one of them. I really loved that movie.
Yeah, same. I thought Jojo Rabbit was hysterical. Last one, Legends of the Fall or Inglourious Bastards?
Glorious Bastards. I love that movie. Whenever I wear my Doc Martens, I say they're my Nazi stomping boots because it makes me feel like Brad Pitt in that movie, like I'm about to go like round up my gang.
Yeah, that movie's so fun. I love that movie. Definitely Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, this one was hard for me because I actually really liked Legends of the Fall back in the day, and these are both obviously Brad Pitt war movies. So, just to be different, I'll pick Legends of the Fall.
So
that was it.
Well,
that was my war theme.
Thank you for those. Yeah, thank you for those war questions, Jen.
Lighten the mood.
can't wait to post this one on Instagram.
Yeah, right. The people. So we will post these this following weekend. The chocolate or vanillas. We love to see what you guys vote for. So keep your eyes peeled this upcoming weekend for these questions. Please vote. I would love to know.
If I see any one of you picking Betsy Ross, we're blocking you.
You will receive a personal cease and desist from me. I know we do have listeners who aren't American though, so maybe they have some personal opinions about that. I don't know.
Fair enough, but actually no, not fair enough.
Yeah, no.
Ugh.
All right, well, thank you so much, Jen, for this riveting and intriguing round of chocolate or vanilla. Really lightened the mood because we've been talking about how bad of a singer Russel Crowe is. So honestly, I would rather talk about war situations. So thank you as always for joining us. And make sure to keep your ears and eyes peeled for this on our Instagram.
All right, bye. Have a good night.
Bye,
guys. I love you.
Jen.
Bye, love you too.
All right, that was a good one.
All right. Yeah, that was fun. I love it. Jen loves a theme as well. So if
Love that
any
theme.
of you have ideas for like themes that, because it doesn't always have to pertain with the movie. Like sometimes, she tries to make it, but sometimes she'll just like go rogue and do something random. So if any of you have like theme ideas for rounds of chocolate or vanilla, please DM us because I'll let her know. I'm sure she would love to hear
sure.
that. And also, if you play chocolate or vanilla, like in the car or at parties or whatever, please tell us, because it's so fun. But back to Les Mis, this movie, I just don't even know. It is, do you think it's, I'm not going to say do you think it's too long?
Yeah.
You know it's too long. But like, at what point does it lose you? Because I know where it loses me.
Honestly, like the second song, like when Like Valjean's soliloquy, I'm like, I'm bored. I'm already bored. I've already seen the best character, which is the priest. That's all I need.
Which, do you know that guy was the original Jean Valjean from the Broadway run, the guy who plays the priest. No, there's actually a lot of really interesting intertanglement connections that this movie has. So, Anne Hathaway's mom played Fantine on like a stage version of, I don't know if it was Broadway, but some sort of like traveling stage version. So this is kind of her like, legacy situation, which is kind of cool. And then there's also this Jean Valjean who plays the priest in this, which is kind of cool.
But like, maybe not the second song, but I think when it like actually really loses me is like right after Fantine dies. Like...
Because you're not going to get to see any more Anne Hathaway other than when her ghost appears in the very last 5 minutes.
Like,
also, she really cut her hair in that scene. Isn't that crazy? For like real things they did, they had her hairdresser put on a dress to like pose as the woman cutting her hair. So it's like the scene is that a woman comes in behind her to cut her hair, but then they swapped it out and had an actual hairdresser do it. So it wasn't super fucked up, but like they fucked her shit up. Like her scalp, like they got really down to it, but what commitment.
Well, I remember seeing the Oscars like later that year and her hair was still, she had like I don't know,
pixie cut,
like a pixie cut almost, and I was like, oh wow, she fully committed for this.
I love that.
Maybe she went method and got her teeth pulled out too.
Oh my god! So this movie won a couple of Oscars. I know Anne Hathaway won for Best Supporting Actress for this. I think it won for like maybe sound editing. Like it won a couple of. It didn't win any of the huge ones like Best Picture or anything, or like screenwriting or anything, but it won a couple of side ones. But one of the ones it did win was Best Hair and Makeup, and I truly think that that's because they made everyone's teeth look rotted. The hottest of hot characters, Epony, who is snatched for the gods. Her teeth, they got a little brown, and there she got gingivitis. Every single character, they fucked their teeth up to a certain extent. They were like, historically, toothbrushes did not exist, and we are going to portray that to the fullest in this film. Because everyone's singing too, so you're seeing their mouths open a lot. So I just really was paying attention. I'm like, wow, they rubbed dirt in these people's mouths and won an Oscar for Best Hair and Makeup for that.
I'll give it to them. I think they did a really great job with Sacha Baron Cohen and Helena Bonham Carter in this. I think their hair and makeup was probably some of my favorite and just like my favorite looks of the entire thing.
Because it's so fun. They also did the aging. They aged everybody. Plus, so like Jean Valjean, you see him from being kind of a young man to like literally on his deathbed. Yeah. So I guess they did kind of like the aging makeup.
Yeah. Well, Jean Valjean went from like I don't want to say spry, but like a healthy
50-year-old.
Yeah,
he was fighting on the front lines, dragging Marius through the shit trenches, and not a moment later was he dilapidated in the church.
Honestly, that scene where he's dragging Marius through like the sewers is probably one of my favorite scenes, just because like when Javert shows up like on like he's like looking down at him from like up above like on the street level in the sewer, it almost feels like he should have been like, what's up, shit boy?
And I love Jean Valjean, he opens his eyes and you see the whites of his eyes just completely, the rest of his body is blackened with human waste. It's just so jarring.
Dude, that's probably why he died. He caught something down in that sewer.
Yeah, right. Honestly, I'm like, Marius, don't you have wounds from the battle? Like, you have sepsis by now. There's no way.
Like, it's so funny because here's the thing, is that I think that Javert is worse than Austin Ames in terms of being able to recognize Valjean for the entire film. Like, mind you, like, I get it, he looks a lot different than what he did, like, in prison and all that stuff, but he doesn't look that different. And then, like,
really, I think a middle-aged white man in France they probably all look a little interchangeable, especially if 10
Fair
years
enough.
have passed. I think you just know him because he's Hugh Jackman. I think probably every man. Remember, they arrested somebody because they're like, that's totally him, and it was literally
True.
just some other, like, homeless guy.
But, like, what was it? Like, it was, like, he saw, Javert, like, saw Valjean, like, after he was like, oh no, that guy's not me, I'm me, kind of thing. And then, like, 10 years later, he's still like, is that him? Is that
Maybe he just
him?
needs
But
glasses.
the thing is, the one time that he easily clocks him is when he's covered in shit.
Well, it's because he sees the little door to the sewer open, and he's like, gotta be Valjean. This is the sneaky
enough.
work of a crook. And I love that at every given moment when it's possible, Jean Valjean reminds him, he's like, just so we're on the same page, I did only steal bread. He's like, you were
He's
really
like, don't
worked
care,
up.
didn't ask.
Yeah. He's like, just so we're on the same page, though, like, the thing I did do was steal bread, is why you're all worked up. But also, is Jean Valjean the only man to have ever broken his parole in all of French history up until this point? Because I'm like, Javert, as the local law enforcement, you have such bigger fish to fry than to chase down this man who has broken his parole 10 years ago for stealing bread. It just doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me.
There's literally an uprising going on about Javert.
And he, like, becomes
They're
an
like, "We need you."
undercover
They're like-
spy with the sole purpose of, like, I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna find Jean Valjean. They're in love. There's sexual attention.
I was literally gonna say,
This is a queer film, because there's no way that he would obsess over this man that much if it wasn't a yearning.
I was like, don't you think it's a little gay to be hunting down a man for 10 plus years?
But every time you see him, like, you can't quite bring yourself to kill him. He's like, you know, oh, like, I've got this thing later. I'd really prefer if you don't. And he's like, I'll get you next time. See you in 10 years, buddy. Love these little bumpins we have.
So, someone has definitely written, like, an enemies to lovers fanfiction about these two.
Longer than the actual original Les Mis text, I believe.
Probably. They
but
fully flushed it out.
So I want to throw this out there, because something I love to do is watch a movie that I've seen before, and you just employ some sort of detail as a canonical truth. And so for me, this time around, I watched it as if Javert is the only character who can hear the score. So he's going through this, and he's the only one who's like, why is everyone singing? And that's why he's a little thrown off. That's why every time Javert starts singing, he's like, prisoner 24601, because he's like, oh, damn, everyone's really, we don't talk these days. And that's how he always knows when Jean Valjean's about to come up, because the theme, the background theme, dun dun, dun. He hears it, he's like, oh, he's gotta be fucking close. That's the returning theme. And so in all of the scenes with Javert, it fucking cracked me up to think that he could hear the score. So if you're gonna do a watch of Les Mis, just keep that in your mind, and honestly, it'll bring a lot of humor to scenes that are not funny.
I really like that. Speaking of the music, did you... Okay, because I know we've talked about if we have a favorite musical number in the last 2 episodes that we did. This one seems a little different.
Yeah, because I know the last 2 were so fun. So it's like so fun, like, oh, yeah. I can't think they're all so fun. And this one's like, which one's the least depressing? You know? That's like, Fantine is talking about dying of TB and leaving her child behind. Like, I don't give a shit about Cosette and Marius and Eponine, if we're being frank. Like, there's too much going on here. Yeah, the war, he's like singing about his friends being dead. Heavy material compared to Mamma Mia. But, so I have an answer, and it actually falls kind of in line with the question I asked you earlier, which is, when did your attention drop off?
Yes.
And so for me, my attention span stays at about consistent until Master of the House, which is my favorite song.
Good.
I love whenever Sacha Baron Cohen and Helena Bonham Carter triple name threats, the two of them. I love a celebrity who can pull off a triple name. So the two of them, powerhouses, comedic relief in this heavy film. They both just fucking knock it out of the water. And that's when this movie peaks for me. And anything after that, I could kind of give or take. But my attention, like, holds on until the halfway point, where they do that big musical number at the halfway point. And then the second act, I could fucking leave. I don't give a shit. The movie could literally end at that halfway, at that intermission for me, and I would be fine. Like, I know none of the storylines have completed their arcs or anything, but I don't really care. Because all the good songs have already been sung, basically, other than, like, empty chairs at empty tables. But for me, it's Master of the House, and that's whenever that little theme comes up, when the two of them are, like, doing some sort of sneaky shit on the side. Like, it just kind of brings me back to it. So that's my favorite for sure. What about you?
No, I totally agree. That's I would say that's, I don't know, that's my favorite, but I think the one that might be like the closest second or even tie it is probably what the fuck is it called?
I Dreamed a Dream.
No. No. Where all of the whores
Do you
on the
hear the
street
people
are singing.
sing?
No, all the whores on the street are singing to Annie Hathaway and saying, "Come get syphilis with us."
Oh,
Lovely ladies.
yeah, lovely ladies, come and buy us.
I think that one of my favorite parts of the movie, and one of the things that does kind of keep me hanging on to it, is that the ensemble does really good work. And honestly, I kind of prefer it to, like, any of the solo songs, really. But
yeah,
I really like
numbers.
that one.
I wish there was more dancing in this movie.
That
I
was
wish
probably-
they did.
These
They
two,
all sing.
uh-huh.
I wish they danced.
Like, these two numbers that we just named are probably the danciest that they get. And that's about it.
Right? That's what I think this movie's really lacking, because the past two movies we've done, superb choreographed dance numbers. In Mamma Mia and
outstanding.
in Hairspray, obviously these
Blows me away.
huge, like, just energetic, exciting. I'm like, come on, Anne Hathaway. You've been dying for the past 9 minutes.
Can we pick up the pace?
I will say, the scene where Javert kills himself is 45 minutes long. There were points where I just skipped ahead. I would just skip ahead to see, and it would he's still monologuing about how weird he feels about not being able to catch Jean Valjean, and then I'd be like, let me skip forward another 6 minutes. Still, I'm like, when is he gonna jump? It is so long. It takes forever.
I think that was a great artistic choice, honestly, because the payoff at the end is you just get to hear that flap of his body just hitting the bottom of the dam.
That was also, that was real life. They made him jump. They pushed Russell Crowe off the side of a dam, actually. I'm just kidding.
He died. He died.
Yeah, he did. Oh my god. It's
Everyone
like an Avril
remembered for
Lavigne
this.
situation, like they've replaced him with a doppelganger. This is a new conspiracy. You heard it here first, folks. They killed Russell Crowe on the set of Les Mis.
Oh my god.
They're like, we're doing everything for real this movie, Russell. So you're gonna have to take one for the team.
I would like to think that if he had to kill himself for this role, he would have put more of his heart into his singing.
Oh my god.
You know who put their whole pussy into a song, though? It's Samantha Barks singing On My Own.
Oh my god.
And
First
I mean,
of all, her character doesn't really check out to me, because she's like, hey Marius, you're actually rich and you're pretending to be poor for the clout. I see you. And he's like, please don't talk to me. And then she's like, oh, he didn't tell I was flirting. Like, I'm like, girl, you're calling him out for some fucking shit. And then you're like, oh, you don't want to make out with me though? Like, it's like girls who neg guys, girls who like bully guys as a form of flirting or whatever. I'm like, Ebony, you're not putting your best foot forward right now. And then he's like, I saw this girl in the street and I'm obsessed with her. Can you find out where she lives? And Ebony's like,
does it
sure,
like that.
I'm on it. Sure, I'm on it. And then she tells him where Cassette is staying, and then he goes to visit her, and she's upset. I'm like, girl, you gave him the address.
I do like that song they sing at that what is that In My Life, I think, is the one that Marius and Cosette sing at the gate. But no, whenever and Samantha Barks is great in that. But whenever I hear On My Own, I always just think of Glee because it like opens up with Rachel Berry singing that song.
There's no better depiction of like the repressed theater girl than just like breaking out into Les Mis at an inappropriate time. But so if we're talking about like love triangles here, I fully cannot comprehend why anyone is making heart eyes at anyone other than Angel Ross in this fucking movie.
Doesn't make sense.
Why is Cassette is making hard eyes at Marius? What's her name? Epony is making hard eyes at Marius when Angel Ross is right there, a whole ass man running a revolution. He's too committed to his work.
Exactly.
You know, I get it. He's caught up in his work. But Epony's like, Marius, you're pretending to be poor for the revolution. You're not even committed. And I'm like, girl, you know who is committed? Angel Ross. Go hit on that, because he's the real deal.
I think one of the most offensive things about that whole scenario is that they were making hard eyes at Marius when he had his hair looking like he did. Like,
Yeah, they did him dirty. They won an Oscar for hair and makeup in this movie, and they did him dirty with that little coif.
They dated this movie so hard with that look. It was just so absurd. So 2012, it makes my skin crawl. But I don't know, Oscar worthy, I suppose.
It's because of the teeth. They made everyone's teeth a little yellow.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I didn't even understand any of that situation because I'm like, there's right next to him, literally right next to him the whole time, is a 10.
Since we're on the topic of sort of more supporting characters and side characters, I just wanted to mention, because I was watching this, and I did not pick it up until the very last...
The boyfriend from Fleabag? The boyfriend from Fleabag?
Yes, exactly! Literally, it was the very last scene of the movie. I did not see him for the whole thing, but I saw him on top of that big old barricade across all of France, and I think I, like, screamed a little bit. I was like, no way, no fucking way. And I look it up, and I see Hugh Skinner on the fucking docket. I was blown away.
Yes, so for anybody out there who has seen Fleabag, in the first season, her boyfriend who becomes her ex-boyfriend, I think his name is Harry.
Yeah.
In Fleabag, he's the one who she's masturbating to Obama's speech, and he's like, this is my final straw. It's really great, but this was also my first post-Fleabag watching of Les Mis, and I noticed it too, because I was like, they gave him darker hair. His hair is like almost black, whereas in Fleabag, he's more of a dirty blonde, and so I immediately clocked it. I was like, holy shit. Because you never really pay attention to those little side characters when you're... You know, but yeah,
They're just to take up
I was
space.
like, holy shit, wild.
Blew my
We love to see it. I'm glad he's booked and busy.
I know. Like, this is totally one of those movies, too, that, like, so many, they just had so many people that it's like, okay, someone that I know is bound to pop up, you know what I mean? Just in that little side bit role. But that was probably my favorite thing of this watch, is getting to see him and realizing that. But
a random question: if anybody out there is like super into musicals and they want to DM us and tell me about the best musical you've ever seen live, or you're like, you know, your favorite movie musical, or if you've seen live productions, I would love to know, because I have seen a fair amount of musicals live. I do enjoy it. As much as I'm talking about how I fell asleep during Les Mis, I really do enjoy going to see musical theater. So I'd love to hear about your experiences, or if you love Les Mis and are like, what the hell, why did you fall asleep? I'm really sorry.
Wait, so what would you say your favorite musical that you saw live would be? Okay,
so this is like probably a little controversial of an opinion, because I've seen some really good ones. Like, I've seen Wicked.
Yep.
I've seen Rent. Like, I've seen a lot of the really good ones, but like it's hard to compare, you know? Yeah. Apples and oranges, certain things give me different, but Avenue Q. Yep. I love puppets.
I knew it.
I just love puppets. And Avenue Q is the best show I've ever seen. I saw an MIT production, MIT the college production. That's not the best one, but it was really great to see. Like, I went because they were doing Avenue Q, and I was like, oh, gotta go. But I saw it on Broadway, and I was just like, and I would say, like, up there with it, too, is also the Book of Mormon. I just love something that can make fun of itself. Because that's what musical theater is. I think it should be silly. But speaking of musical theater... So, okay, wait. You answer what is your favorite thing you've seen, and then I have a bit of a tangent to go on.
I'd say, well, the first musical I actually saw on Broadway was Mamma Mia, so that is definitely like up there. But you knew me during the time of my life when I saw Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet, and I was a little obsessed for a hot minute.
And you saw the original cast, right? You saw Josh Groban?
Yeah, there was like an off-Broadway cast before it like went fully on Broadway, but yeah, no, I saw it with Josh Groban. He was absolutely fantastic. I just loved that they the way it was set up. It's like set up like a Russian parlor, sort of like a bar kind of thing. And all of the actors would like, we were in the very back row of the mezzanine, and we literally had people coming up and like dancing right in front of us. Someone gave me like a Russian pierogi. It was great. So
that you ate?
Yeah, they came around before the show started, and they gave out tiny little pierogis in like these little like boxes. It was the cutest thing. It was great.
Oh my god. The only like original cast member I've ever seen on a Broadway show was Catherine McPhee for Waitress. She was on American Idol, I think, and then she starred in this Broadway show called Waitress. I don't know. But I will say my funny Broadway story is we saw the Spider-Man show.
Oh my god.
And we got tickets really cheap because this was after the guy died.
My god.
So the Broadway Spider-Man show, there was this whole conundrum where there was a lot of swinging around on wires happening throughout the theaters, and the wires did snap, and the lead actor did perish on site during a show. And so then instead of being like, let's stop this, they were like, well, let's just do it, but the tickets will be cheaper and we won't do any more swinging around. So it was super fucking lame. And all of the music was composed by the American rock group Meatloaf.
What?
So it was all these Meatloaf songs in a Spider-Man musical where they couldn't swing around because somebody died, and we got really cheap tickets, and it was just like overall just such a weird experience. That was my like worst, probably most odd musical theater experience I've ever had.
I swear someone had said something like Imagine Dragons were one of the people that produced the music for it.
Maybe they like also helped, but I'm 95% sure it was Meatloaf.
I love Meatloaf.
But like, speaking of bad musicals though, I do want to bring a bit of light to people often regard this movie as like one of the best like musical movie adaptations ever, which I just have to disagree.
I know.
Like,
yeah.
Couldn't be for me. Too long, too flat. I don't love it. You know, I've watched it many a time, and I think it's the right vibe for certain occasions, and I won't turn it down if it's being offered to me, but it's not my fave. Yeah. But I just want to bring this director's body of work, right? Is so Tom Hooper, so interesting to me.
I do love the King's Speech. I think he's a great actor. Or not actor, director, fuck.
Director. So he did the King's Speech, which won in the 2011 Oscars. It beat The Social Network, which was like a huge snub. Everybody was a total upset. Yeah. Right? So that was, I would think, his like most notable moment of his career was that he...
Didn't he also do The Danish Girl?
He did The Danish Girl, so you've got that Eddie Redmayne, Lifeblood, through Les Mis in 2012, The Danish Girl, which we did not support on this podcast. I don't fuck with that shit. I don't fuck with cis people playing trans people in movies. That it's just I don't care for it. So that movie doesn't do it for me. But then the 2019 abomination that was Cats was this man. The man who did Les Mis also did the movie that had to get pulled and re-edited, Cats. And so anybody who's a Les Mis stan out there, I just want you to reevaluate maybe that this is the same guy who made Cats. So it's really not that
Have you seen Cats? Because I haven't seen Cats, and I know we thought about maybe doing it for this month, but it's been beaten to death at this point. We couldn't have said anything else that hasn't already been said.
I would rather watch Les Mis 3 times back to back than have to watch Cats. I don't want to do it. I just simply don't. And I think I've absorbed enough from social media I get it. I get why it's bad and where it went wrong, and I don't want to experience it. I simply do not.
The most off-putting thing about that movie for me is that James Corden is in it.
any movie that James Corden in is automatically triggers my fight or flight response.
I don't know why in God's name. He's in every single fucking musical. He weasels his way in every time. He's got to have an outstanding agent.
No, he knows something.
Yeah,
he knows something, and people are like, oh, we better get him in here. I'll say something.
He's in Into the Woods. He plays like alongside Emily Blunt. Like, come on.
Nonsense. That could have been a good one we did. I semi-enjoyed Into the Woods. I think it had its ups and downs, but again, that's one I saw in theaters and I was really excited for, and I just love a movie musical moment. Yeah. They're always just so fun. Whether they're good or bad, it's going to be a good time.
And character jump from Les Mis, the kid that plays Gavroche, I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain. Yeah,
no, he's Into the Woods.
No, the kid that like climbs the beanstalk and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, you're totally right there. Yeah. He's a little musical theater powerhouse.
Yeah, I don't know. I would watch it, but anything with James Corden in it feels like a threat.
Okay, so before we get into our regularly scheduled program, I do want to once circle back around to Russel Crowe, and I want to share a golden nugget of information that I have found.
Is this post his death?
Russel Crowe.
Sorry.
Russel Crowe? No, this has nothing to do with the movie Les Mis, actually. Well, it does a little bit, because I was thinking, who told this man he could sing? And it turns out he had a music career. He was a Britpop singer back in the day, before he was an actor, really. He went by Russ LeRock, RussLeRoc, Russ LeRock, and he made like Britpop music. It's horrible. It's not very good. But he has this one song called I Want to Be Just Like Marlon Brando. And so if you go listen to it, it's not good. It's not good. But I was just like, holy shit, who told Russell Crowe he could be in this movie? And he has a music career. He legitimately has music out there. So just go listen to it and entertain yourself. The song is called like I Want to Be Just Like Marlon Brando, is like their one like hit single that they had. Go check it out, because it's really quite a listen.
Oh my god. Oh,
Isn't that hilarious? Russ LeRock.
Gives me like Mark Wahlberg vibes.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Oh my god. But they actually good vibrations. That's pretty good.
That's fair.
That song makes me want to go roller skating. Russ LeRock does not make me want to go roller skating.
I cannot wait to go listen to that later. Oh my god. But
yeah, really, really great and interesting stuff. Henry brought it up to me. He was like, oh, Russell Crowe had a music career, right? And I was like, you're fucking shitting.
Why does Henry know
this? You are absolutely yanking my chain right now. Because wealth of random information. And I was like, you're yanking my chain right now. And he was like, no. And he pulled it up on our TV and made me listen to the whole song. And he was like, listen. And I was like, yes, I'm listening. I've been listening to him in Les Mis in small doses for the past 4 days. Yes, I know this is Russell Crowe. I believe you. It sounds just like him.
Absolutely unbelievable. Okay. Should we jump in? All right.
Yeah, so do we want to start with Fuck, Marry, Kill?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I think there's, like, honestly, I cannot tell you the 3 main characters of this movie. Because you've got, like, so many tendrils of storylines. Like, Jean Valjean is obviously our pro-tag, right? But then you've got, like, the crime situation where you've got like him and Javert, but then you also have like the family situation where you have him and Cosette and Marius, but then off from Marius you have the whole revolution situation. So like I don't even know, how do we pick a big 3 here?
I think the big 3 is the love triangle, and I think we start with the love triangle. So it's Éponine, Cosette, and Marius.
Oh, okay. Could I kill all of them?
That'd be the easy way out.
Honestly, I know, though, that there are, like, people who will defend Éponine to the death of the way they will defend Padme. Padme apologists that they're like, I will not tolerate Padme slander on this timeline. There are people who are like, they're like theater people who are like, I will not tolerate Éponine slander on this. And I'm just gonna say that I don't really get, I think she's kind of dumb, and I don't really get why she's, like, continually thirsting after this guy who's not into it. And then she literally jumps in front of a bullet for him. And can we talk about that scene where they're like singing into each other's arms and then the camera pans and you realize that 50 people have been watching them have this whole conversation for the past... I'm like, this is not an intimate moment. You're all in a very small, confined space.
Raj is just standing there weeping.
Right, but like also Angel Ross is like, can we get on with this?
Come on,
it's time
this
for
is really
war.
inconvenient. Let's go plan.
Also, why did she have to like wrap her tits and pretend to be a boy to go fight? Like, really, I just don't think they cared at that point. They're like, anybody willing to throw a chair out a window is totally welcome.
Dude, give us a body and we're fine. You know what I mean?
But I'm going to marry Cassette because she has that church silver money. She's got that leftover Jean Valjean stolen candelabra money, which you don't see really in the movie until he like randomly pulls it out of a bag at one point. He just like has like a silver piece of like a cup or something. And I'm like, I guess in the olden days you could just show people that you had a big hunk of metal and they're like, yeah, that's wealth. You're sure you can stay. So I'm gonna marry Cassette because, you know, she seems like she's trying her best. I'm gonna kill Marius because I just don't really care for him or his attitude. And then I guess I'll fuck Epony because I just want to let her take her corset off and breathe for a minute. I'm gonna be like, girl, you have my full attention. I know you're not used to that. You have my full attention right now, and also, like, you can just chill for a minute. I'm not gonna make you do some spy shit and find out somebody's address for me so you can win my love. Like, don't even sweat it. So that's my pick as far as the love triangle.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you about killing Marius. I think, honestly, I'd be doing him a solid because I know that survivor's guilt is just eating him away.
He's gonna pull a Javert and yeet himself off the side of the Hoover Dam eventually.
Exactly. So. But, like, as much as you say that Eponine is an idiot, which she is, because that's, like, doesn't make me feel any better about, like, the situation, you know what I mean? Literally locks eyes with a man and she's like, this is it. This is love. Like, I at least give Eponine some credit that she has known this guy for, like, an extended period of time and she has these feelings for him. And Cosette is just, literally, she's like, nope, alright, here you go, give me the ring.
I also don't understand that because there are hotties aplenty. This movie is overflowing with Hollywood hot level people, and yet he's the one who's gonna make you risk it all. I just don't buy it.
No, exactly. So I think I'm gonna, not because I like Eponine, because I think they're both stupid, but I'll fuck Cosette, and then I'll marry Eponine, because, like, she just needs someone to hold her.
And also, having Sacha Baron Cohen and Helena Bonham Carter as your in-laws would be a romp.
I'd know they have the best fucking parties.
Yeah, I'm like, let me get in on this pickpocket shit. I'm like, let's stir the pot. Let's get things cooking the books. I love it.
Oh, for sure. I feel like I would not mind hanging out at the inn every now and then. Do they still have the inn? Because at the end, it's like they're poor as shit. So I don't know, but
I don't know. They like show up at the wedding like in really preposterous costumes. I don't really think we get
I love
those
Helena's little sunglasses in that scene.
And her, like, she has a million jewels in her hair, and every person she walks by, she plucks something off of them and sticks it in her hair. Fucking genius. Yeah, we don't really get an end cap to their story. I guess we kind of see Sacha Baron Cohen, like, in the shit trenches, stealing from people, and then we just see them at the wedding, and
they're getting taken out.
They're mostly just comedic. Yeah, they're just comedic characters, honestly.
They would be my ideal scenario is that I would join their throuple. I would join them, I'd be in their marriage.
I don't think I could roll with them. Like, I don't think I could keep up. They're like 100 beats a minute, and I don't know if I have the mental capacity and strength to just keep up with that, to be honest.
You have a point there. I would like to think that I could adapt, but I don't know if there's anyone else. I mean, I guess we can just do the whole movie.
I think it is obvious, as I have expressed, that Angel Ross is my boy. But, like, I don't know if I can marry him, because he seems a little too committed to work. And I'm gonna need some time to, like, hang out, you know? I need me time, but I don't know if I think of anybody else in this movie who can really provide that, because it's stressful times. So I'm gonna marry Angel Ross because I can respect, you know, the commitment to the political cause. And I'm not going to say I'd be his right-hand woman because I don't really know if I have the strength for that. But I do know that I will have dinner ready for him at home so he can regain his strength for the battle to come.
Very nice.
So I would be his housewife for sure. Also, that scene where he gets shot and then he falls out the window and his red, like, flag drapes behind him. I don't love the, like, visual cinema of this movie all the time. I like really love it 5% of the time, and the other 95% of the time I'm like, I could give or take it, but that one moment was really, I was like, oh, so beautiful. And then I'll fuck Helena Bonham Carter because she can just get it. And then I'm going to kill, honestly it couldn't be Javert because he does it himself. I'll kill the owner of the sewing shop who's sexually harassing all of his employees, who's totally harassing Anne Hathaway. Fuck that guy, so I'll kill him.
So I'm gonna kind of take a similar stance. I'm gonna kill all the ladies in the sewing shop
for being bitches.
That got Miss Annie Hathaway fired. And sort of on that same tangent, I'm gonna fuck Fontaine. Just because I feel like she needs to not, like, have sex as a prostitute. I feel like she just needs to get laid.
Emily, you're gonna get TB. We discussed this in Moulin Rouge. Okay. You're gonna get TB if you get... It's an airborne disease. You're gonna get it. It's 2021, though. You've got vaccines.
Exactly. Can I pick my timestamp? This is, like, before she goes and...
Yeah, when she's still got her long hair, you could be like, baby girl, you don't have to sell those locks.
Exactly.
I'll be your sugar daddy.
Exactly.
For a hot minute.
Exactly. You get it. She can just come live with me.
In Connecticut. Fontaine, I've got a great place in Connecticut. I just know she want to stop by.
What? Because that's like 9 years old. I know she hasn't gotten laid in like close to like a decade.
10 years.
I always take the stand. I'm gonna do her a solid.
You're always the charitable fuck with you.
What can I say? I'm a giving person. And I'm gonna, I've thought long and hard about who I'm gonna marry. And there's a bit of scheming involved with this. I'm gonna circle back to Fleabag, and I'm gonna try and seduce the priest and have him leave the priesthood for me. And then we'll run off together.
Because he's got money, though. He's got money to spare.
And we'll run off together and live a beautiful life because he seems like the nicest person in this entire movie. And I want to be with that.
This movie made me a Christian. This movie, when he said, Jean Valjean, you didn't steal the silver. These cops are wrong. I gave it to you. And that's the truth. I said, oh, that's Jesus. Like, that is the work of our Lord and Savior right there. That is love thy neighbor. I don't know any religious sayings or anything really, but that is the work of the Lord. Forgive. Does Jesus say forgive?
Yes,
forgive but don't forget or something?
No, but he definitely...
Forgive but don't forget.
He definitely said forgive.
I'm just kidding, I'm not religious.
But yeah, no, that's my firm stance on that, is I want to marry that priest.
Amazing. And who are you killing?
Oh, I said I'd kill all the women in the shop.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Mass slaughter. Huge slaughter. Put that man out of business. Also, I just love the jarring shift from, like, Prisoner 24601 lifting that mast of the ship to, like, he's the mayor now. Not only has he escaped prison, but he's the mayor. Like, small business owner, local guy, mayoral presence.
Like, so bold of him to just assume that he could pull that off, you know what I mean? Like, you're trying to keep a low profile, and he's like, you know what I want to do? Run the town.
Run for office. Oh my god. Okay, so what did you eat and drink with this?
Okay.
Or what would you... Because you've hosted a pretty bangin' Les Mis party that I did attend. And I remember it was great. Very French-themed, very thematic, on brand.
That was the last time
cheese plate?
I enjoyed Les Mis, yeah. We did, like, a big cheese plate, which you could do. We also did poutine because we were kind of like... We were like, what is
French
there? What
Canadian?
is there? Yeah, it was a bit of a stretch. But I would recommend what I did for this. And so I sat down and I made myself breakfast for dinner. And I made French toast.
French toast!
Some blueberries and some bananas on top. Really great, really fancy. I was super proud of myself. But I did French toast and mimosas, because mimosas, I think, are French. I couldn't...
I don't know
I feel like
that one, but champagne, you could have a... Champagne could be from France. You could get a French brut.
Sorry, I'm just Googling are mimosas French. Yeah, no,
I would
it
be
is.
astounded if the French...
Yeah.
Really? The French invented the mimosa? Yep. Wow. You learn something new every day.
It was served at the Ritz Hotel.
I think that's
the
genius.
first mimosa was served at the Ritz Hotel in Paris in 1925.
Holy shit! It took them until 1925 to realize you could mix orange juice and champagne.
I don't know if are oranges like native, like culturally native to France. I don't know where oranges grow like that. Probably not France.
I love a mimosa. I love to do like 80%
exactly
champagne with just a dash of orange juice on the top. So drinkable, so good. I love breakfast for dinner with French toast. I think that's absolutely
It was really easy.
I was gonna say, you can really go, like, this movie's so easy to host a party for, I think, because literally the theme is the whole entire country of France, which has some of the most iconic culinary, staples ever. So just anything, relatively French, depending on how, the easiest thing to do is, like, cheese and bread. Literally rip a loaf of bread apart with your hands and be like Jean Valjean and fucking snatch it. And, like, the farthest you can go is, like, elite 5-star French cooking, escargot, really fancy, So you can just, like, pick and choose within the realm of France. And I think that that's viable. That's a viable option, right? And then also wine, very French, drink some wine. It just checks out. It makes sense. I'm going to say something kind of gross.
Oh, no.
So, I don't know if you just, like, don't want to hear something gross, like, fast forward 30 seconds or something.
How gross is this about to be?
You base your entire culinary off of one specific scene, and it's the grossest scene in the movie where he drags Marius through the sewers. You drink a mudslide. You make mudslides for this movie to commemorate when Jean Valjean was so brave as to push Marius's half-dead body down that chute and into the poop chute. And I think a mudslide would really check out for that. And that's my suggestion if you're just trying to be a little more unique than just France.
Fair enough. You always come to the table with some really creative ideas.
I guess. This was just... I was just trying to think a little outside the box.
Do you have any...
But I love your breakfast. I mean, I don't know, chocolate cake. Like chocolate molten lava cake or something.
Okay.
This movie also makes me want French Revolution, Marie Antoinette, eat some cake, some chocolate cake, and drink a mudslide and watch Les Mis. Also, one year for Valentine's Day, I forced Henry to have a day with me where we made steaks, cakes, shakes, and we watched Les Mis. So we had steaks for dinner, and we made a cake, and we had milkshakes. So steaks, cakes, and shakes. But then for some reason, I'm like, we also have to watch Les Mis. And he was like, Dara, this movie's so long, and I hate it. And I was like, it's Valentine's Day. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm really glad he stayed with me, because I didn't make him do that.
I love that Les Mis was your choice.
So, I don't know why. I really don't know. But what would you follow this up with? So I always go, my favorite thing to do is a little actor association. And I think that this is a cultural film set in the great country of France. Who else has a really great cultural film set in Kazakhstan, I believe? But Borat. Sacha Baron Cohen playing the iconic role of satire. I think I'm going to say something controversial right now. I like the first Borat movie. I do. I think it's fucking funny. The second one didn't really do it for me, but I do like the first Borat. I think it's a funny movie. It's a fun watch. I love like that sort of Nathan For You style comedy where it's like people, like, true reactions to comedians acting absurd, like, in public. That really, like, I don't get that. I know a lot of people don't like it because of secondhand embarrassment. So if secondhand embarrassment is like, if you're afflicted by it, and maybe don't watch Borat because you are going to feel kind of weird. And it certainly is, like, a little questionable as far as, like, portraying certain cultures and everything. But I think Sacha Baron Cohen's fucking hilarious, and I think he's great in this movie, and I think he's great in Borat, so I think you should watch Borat.
Okay, I've taken inspiration from your character association, and I think I figured out a good one. Because you need something light after this. You need something that's very watchable.
Sweeney Todd?
No. Not another musical. You can't do another musical after this. It's just mentally exhausting. But I think that you choose one of Anne Hathaway's best roles in her entire filmography, honestly. And you go for the movie that's centered around the fake country of Genovia, and you watch The Princess Diaries. I feel like we've definitely
Mia Thermopolis. Hell yeah. Yeah, that movie is amazing. You should watch that movie after every movie you watch, because The Princess Diaries is the only 10 out of 10 film that exists.
And you've got, like, other musical icon, frickin' Julie Andrews in it.
Julie Andrews. Amazing.
Yeah. I
love that.
We've definitely suggested that before, but I think this is another situation where you watch The Princess Diaries, because you can never watch The Princess Diaries enough.
Oh, for sure. I'd also say, if you're anyone out there who hasn't watched Fleabag, the episodes are only about 20 minutes or so, so you really can just, I think it's on Amazon Prime, I believe. You can watch the first episode and you can decide pretty quickly if it is or isn't for you. But if any part of it intrigues you, I really implore you to watch that show. I truly think it's one of the best TV shows that's been put out in a really long time. Absolutely amazing. And, you know, one of the actors from Les Mis is in it. So another little association thing there, I guess. But really, if you haven't watched Fleabag, I couldn't recommend it more than anything else. It's so
Fleabag's one of those shows that I end up watching, like, every 4 months. I'm like...
Yeah, because it's so fast, too. You can binge all 2 seasons in, like, less than a week.
I can do it in 2 days.
Because each episode's only 20 minutes. There's 10 episodes in a season or something like that. Yeah, it goes by so quick, and it's just so fast and witty and good that you can really just watch them back.
The second season... And the second season is probably, like,
so good.
One of the most masterful, like, pieces of television that I've ever seen, but...
Yeah, it's one of those shows that gets better, too, so if you start it and you like season 1, like, season 2 is even better, which I love that. I love when because TV shows often fall into that pitfall of, like, season 1 was great, but everything after it kind of sucked, which is pretty unfortunate. So when a show does the opposite, it's, like, kind of
it's beautiful.
Breath of fresh air. So 1 out of 10. What do you give Les Mis? I'm giving it a 5.
I'm giving it a 4.5. Last time, like I said before, last time I enjoyed this was when I had that Les Mis gathering last summer.
This is a party movie. I will say,
it's a party movie. Well, that's because I drank multiple glasses of wine.
Right, like, pay only 60% of your attention to the movie and just have a good time with your friends, eat a big cheese board, have a bunch of drinks. Like, that's the vibe for this movie, absolutely. Sing along. Sing along, to the songs you like. Don't pay attention during the boring times.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Like, it's great musically and everything like that. But I would rather, like, sit down and listen to the soundtrack than, like, actually watch the movie. Yeah,
which I think that says something about the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. So stick around for Musical Month. We'll be wrapping it up next week with a potentially controversial but definitely valid musical movie choice. You'll just have to wait and see what it is. And definitely message us. Please send us any DMs, any of the questions we've asked during this, chocolate or vanilla, what your favorite musical is. Send us in suggestions for movies to watch in the future. We write them all down. We love to hear from you guys. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, our website, our email, everything will be in the little podcast description below. So do not hesitate when you guys DM us. It totally makes our entire day. And if anyone can find me a Castle on a Cloud Trap remix, I would really love to hear that. Some light Google searching yielded minimal results, but I can't say I tried very hard. So if anyone wants to either make me or lead me to a Castle on a Cloud like EDM remix, I would really like that, I think.
I'd like to put that on my playlist.
So, signing off.
Thank you so much for listening.
Prisoner 2461. Your time is up, and your parole has ended, because this is the end of the episode. Goodbye.